Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. How's it going? It is me, Victoria Baxter, known to some as Lady V. And if it's a Saturday, that means it's time for the Sassy Saturday special. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is me to take some time to talk about things as it pertains to men, dating, relationships, marriage, whatever, for the single Christian ladies. I am a certified life coach. I am a dating coach. I am a relationship coach. I'm an author, a minister, and I'm somebody who is qualified by God to go forth and talk about different things. It's always going to be from a biblical standpoint, some opinion, mainly facts, and of course, a whole lot of wisdom and knowledge. So I just want to put that out there as a little disclaimer, as I have to do sometimes. Today, this is what I want to talk about. Today's message is titled, Be Careful What You Ask For. Be careful what you ask for. Because I want to know, what is it that you want right now while you're single? And I'm talking about, of course, as it goes along with men, dating, relationships, marriage, all that other good stuff. But I want to know, what is it that you're asking for? What is it that you want? And then I would want to know, whatever it is that you're praying for, looking for, and or desiring in a man, what if you get it? If you were to get that very thing that you're wanting right now, and especially I know that a few weeks ago we went through the whole PSP, preferences, standards, and potential, and talking about what things are standards, what things are preferences, and which preferences are superficial and they need to be a little bit more flexible. But a lot of people have that list. You know, they're just like, I have a list and this is what I want my man to have and to offer and whatever else. If you were to have that list and then that man came along right now and met everything on your list, how would you feel about that? How would you react if you got exactly what it is that you were desiring? Stating what you desire will cause you a lot of times to get what you want because you're putting it in the atmosphere. We know that the devil hears prayers the same way that God does. And while God came for us to have life more abundantly, of course, we know that the devil is out to steal, kill, and destroy. And if it's two things that he's really against, it would be the church and marriage / relationship / family. Those are the things that he wants to cause division in, because it's supposed to be a united front where it's something that we're, in together, or whatever else. So he wants to cause division in those areas. So you can rest assured, if you're actually, in a godly relationship and wanting to get married, and things like that, that is something he is 100% out to destroy by any means necessary. Now, it might not even necessarily be praying out loud about what it is that you're desiring, but even be careful what you ask for, because you may mention it to a potential mate. And someone who might have impure motives will become what you said you wanted if he wants you bad enough. And that is problematic. You're praying and he's praying. And without discernment, you'll be blinded. I talked a while, I want to say probably 2 different times, about the halo effect. And of course, what that is, and I'll explain it again, especially for those who either forgot or if you're tuning in for the first time. But with the halo effect, again, and it really relates to women or anyone who has their preferences and stuff like that when it comes to dating and, and actually meeting the one. I talked about the one before. But with the halo effect, you might have that absolute thing that is like mandatory. They must be this, and that is the number one thing that matters. Or you might have that deal breaker where it's like they absolutely cannot be whatever. The halo effect is when you have that one thing that's at the top, but it overshadows everything else. What happens with some people, okay, you might say they have to, like, maybe you've had a history with guys that were not financially stable. So maybe for you, that the number one thing above all else is their finances. Maybe it has to be they absolutely have to have X amount of money in the bank, or at least make a certain amount of money a year. And I'm going to use this as an example because I know that it's something that a lot of women talk about, and it's something that's important to them. So cool, let's start with that. So what if you meet a man, first things first, you realize that he meets that $100,000 a year mark that you have in your mind. So that in and of itself is going to cause you to give him a chance. He treats you right. Yeah, there might be some other things that go along with it. Yeah, he might even cheat on you. And this is also something we see a lot with celebrities and professional, players or whatever and stuff like that, athletes or whatever. They make a lot of money, but for some women, it's like they came from poverty. or they don't want to work, or they just really want that lifestyle, and especially at somebody else's expense. They get to live in a house they never thought they would live in. So because of that number one thing, because of the money, that halo effect, it overshadows everything else. Forget the fact that the man is cheating on them. Forget the fact that there are other women. Forget the fact that he might put his hands on you sometimes. Forget the fact that he maybe gave you an STD. Let's not talk about the fact that he might, we're not even sure like where he truly stands from a Christian aspect. That will be the halo effect. Because sometimes people get so caught up on the thing that they want that as long as a man meets that one thing, or sometimes it's two, maybe even three things, as long as he checks those things off, they'll deal with everything else. And then, like I said before, on the flip side, you have some people where it's like, this is the absolute deal breaker. I will not date a man who does whatever. I'm just going to use cigarettes as an example. And I'm not saying that you're wrong with this. I'm trying to think of something to use. But for you, it might be you will not date a man who smokes cigarettes. And if he does that, that is absolutely a done deal. But then you might have this list of all the things that you desire in a man. And what if that man meets every single one of those qualities? What if he is a provider? What if he is a protector? What if he makes six figures? What if he accepts your children? What if he goes to church? What if he displays all the fruits of the Spirit and everything else, but he just has that one habit? And I know it's a bad habit. I know it's nasty. I know it can cause cancer. Again, I'm not justifying it. I'm just looking for examples. But I would even say for myself, I don't smoke anymore, but I used to. And a lot of people didn't know that I smoked until you actually saw me with a cigarette in hand. Because I hate the smell of cigarettes. Even when I did smoke, I hated the smell. Oh, it made me gag, especially if I was not actually smoking a cigarette. But because I hated the smell, I was always brushing my teeth. I kept my toothbrush and toothpaste on me. I was always chewing gum. I was always washing and scrubbing my hands. I always had a smoke jacket. I would make sure I had my jacket on, covering my clothes while I smoked. So that way, when I took it off, by the time I've brushed my teeth, washed my face, reapplied my lip gloss, I've washed my hands, lotion, and sprayed some more on the clothes that didn't even get anything, nobody even knew that I smoked. Even a lot of times in my car, I would smoke in my car. But I was very big on keeping my car cleaned out all the time. So you wouldn't come in there and be like, oh, it is smoky in here. Like you wouldn't be able to tell. I would not smoke in my house, none of those things. So some people would find out that I smoked, and for them it was like, I remember a guy in college, he was so attractive. He really wanted to talk to me until, because he'd already heard about me. He had already been eyeing me the whole nine. He saw me with a cigarette one day, and that completely turned out. He's like, oh, nope, you ain't for me. I was like, okay, well, I don't know you enough or care about you enough to quit. Because some people do that. They might drop their habit, for whatever. Megan Good and Devon Franklin, he would always say, he was like, for him, he would never date a woman that smoked. Nope, that was a done deal. Lo and behold, Megan Good was a smoker. If I'm not mistaken, and I might be wrong, I think that she still does smoke, but I know that at least reading the book, I know they've talked about it in interviews and stuff like that, that she had at least at that point cut down a whole lot. I don't know if she still does it or not. But again, I say all that to say, because sometimes our preferences and things like that, we can be so determined that things either can or can't come in a certain way when it comes to a man, not even realizing that we could be getting in our own way and disrupting something that God might be trying to do. What if this person smokes, but maybe you're the one who could help them stop smoking? Or what if, the money, just things to think about. Again, not trying to change your mind, trying to get you to open it. I always say that. Let's reveal a little bit more about myself, since you all seem to enjoy that so much. When it comes down to be careful what you pray for, and I'll try not to talk too long because I'm tired anyway. My throat hurts. I had to do another video earlier. So be careful what you pray for. So with my ex, from when I was in college with this one guy, the guy who I do have 2 kids by, and I talk about him a lot. I really do think he's following me. I think he's been watching this videos, all my videos. Oh well, I'm being honest. I haven't lied about anything. So with this situation, with this guy, again, I'm Christian. I've always been Christian. I was never like super religious. My household, we were not like, Jesus freaks or anything like that. We went to church every Sunday. I always believed. I was always a believer, even though I wasn't saved and serious about Christ. I was always a believer. I always had a desire to get closer and to know more and to learn more. I also have a type: tall, dark skin, have a six pack. So here comes my baby daddy. I didn't know he was my baby daddy at the time. So I met him. So not only does he fit my type, I was also at that point where having a little bit of thug in you was still kind of cute and cool. He also had a little bit of thug in him. He was also tall. He was dark. He had a six pack. Guess what? He also went to church every Sunday. Ding, 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 ding. So for me, I was like, here we go. I got what I asked for. I got what I wanted, even though I didn't pray about, that man. I didn't have to, because sometimes our desires are already known. And even though the enemy doesn't necessarily know our thoughts, he knows, he can tell based on our patterns. The best indicator of future behavior are past behaviors. So a lot of times he already knows how to trap us and how to set us up with certain things. So here comes this man, and he was everything that I wanted, even though I had not prayed about it or said out loud that I wanted him. But then here's the thing: even though I got what I wanted and prayed for and asked for, yeah, he went to church on Sunday, but that was it. On a daily basis, not a single fruit of the Spirit or anything else was actually displayed. He was not godly in any aspect of the word. I know that he loves God. I know that he believes in God. I'm not going to take that away from him. But he barely knew God. And the only time he really prayed is when it was something he really wanted to see happen in his life, something he really wanted to see a change or a turnaround. That was like the only time that he would really pray. When it came to tithing, he would only start giving because he was sick of being in a financial rut. So he wasn't tithing because that's what you're supposed to do. He was tithing because it's like, well, I'm going to give and I'm going to see what God is going to do for me. And some people are like that, but especially when it comes to tithing, tithing needs to be based on obedience because we are commanded to do it. Sowing seeds, offering, that's like next step. First fruits, next step. Almsgiving, next step. But tithing is the basic that is required, and we think that we're doing God a favor by being obedient. I'll get off of that. But I did a coaching on that, and God Do We Still Trust? That's available at the website. If you click on HSM series, or even if you go to the shop, but you can even buy that, and it's a 4-week plan of realizing why some Christians can't get ahead financially. And it's something that I think it's very important for a lot of Christian women, because we're wanting men to come in financially stable, well off, credit score, everything good. But our credit is jacked up. We're living paycheck to paycheck, sometimes bouncing off the overdraft and everything else. So I always say, use this time to become the person that the person you're looking for is looking for. Because somebody who is very great with money, they're going to be turned off with someone that has poor spending habits and poor money habits. Let's just be clear on that. But anyway, back to my ex, I got what I wanted. He fit my type physically. He was a Christian. He went to church, but that was it. And I want to say suckered in, but in a sense, yeah, because for years, only thing I knew, and especially upon meeting him, was I was happy because he was in the church. I was happy because he went to church on Sundays. I didn't care that he smoked weed as soon as he got out of church. I didn't care that he smoked weed, Monday through Saturday, well, Sunday through Saturday, but he was smoking weed a lot. I didn't care that sometimes he even went to church, maybe even after he had smoked weed. I didn't care about the fact that we were having sex on a regular basis, and fornicating and the whole nine. And then he had, profanity and all that other good stuff. I had my godly man. Because at that point, I thought godly was just going to church. So that's one example of how I got exactly what it is that I wanted, only to realize that I didn't really quite want it. Now, I also say that we need to be mindful of answering that question, especially on dates or that first phone conversation with a man. So what do you look for in a man? What type of man do you like? What type of man do you dislike? Because again, stating what you desire will cause you to get what you want, because you're putting it out there. You're telling somebody that, but somebody that does not have pure motives, they will become exactly what you said you wanted if he wants you bad enough. And he will have you fooled, and he will lie and do everything if he is trying to trap you and get you. That is what Satan does. Satan makes things look appealing. He makes things look attractive so that he can lure us in. And he knows the things that we want. That's why a lot of us, we keep on getting caught up with our type. and whatever else. It's because, again, you don't have to pray in your mind, or you don't even have to pray at all. God, I pray that he's, 6'4" and he's dark skinned and he's built da 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 da. But if it's obvious that those are the kind of men that you've repeatedly been in relationships with, even if they've been dead end relationships, what do you think Satan is saying? Satan is looking like, okay, I see her type. I see this is what gets her off track every time. I see why every time she's trying to be abstinent, she's trying to take, go into that whole route of, becoming pure and saving herself for her husband. She always is a sucker for a tall, dark-skinned man. So let me keep putting one of those in her path because I know that that's what she finds attractive. This is how Satan works. His tactics really don't change that much. We really do underestimate the way that he works a lot of times. So we have to be mindful even of answering that question as well, because what I've noticed is that some men will become that in order to get you. Honestly, sometimes I did it in hopes that I would answer that question sometimes in hopes that they would like me enough to become that person. Sometimes I would tell them, well, I love a man that does this, and I want to make sure in the way that he calls when it comes to dates, and if he kisses me on my forehead, and then the way that men do this, and when I know that they're ambitious and they're talking about their dreams and da 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 da. Sometimes I would give too much information, and I would tell them everything because I was trying to sell myself. I was hoping if they saw how good of a woman I was and how awesome I was, but I was really also, I was at that place of not really loving myself and having issues with, the whole wanting the unconditional acceptance. So I was thinking if I pushed myself on, or if I told them these things, they would do it. They would become that person just to get me because then they like me enough to make that happen. And with some people, that is exactly what happened. But I didn't love myself. I didn't see what was really going on. So I was oblivious to the whole thing. Some people will become it or pretend just to get you. But the thing is that there's only but so long that a person can actually pretend, first of all. So eventually the truth is going to come out. But secondly, like I said, some people will become it. Let me tell you about this other dude that I dated a couple of years ago. So he was the first, I guess I'd say, like, kind of relationship since my ex and I, when we ended. And, we did the whole, why did your last relationship end and all that other good stuff and whatever else. And, it's funny because I've been talking to a lot of guys lately, interviewing people for this project that I'm working on. And I see that is actually like the number one question that men hate being asked on a date or by a new female that they're getting to know. Why are you single, or what happened in your last relationship? Maybe that's something we need to talk about later. But anyway, so with this guy, we did the conversation about, why are you single and what happened in your last relationship and what was your ex like? So I told this guy everything that I did not like about my ex. I let him know, well, this is why my ex and I are no longer together. And I told him, like, these were the red flags. These are the things that bothered me. I will never date a guy that does this. I will only date a guy that does this. Whatever else, I laid it all out there. So what did this guy do? He became the exact same thing I said I was wanting. And the things that I said were red flags for me, he hid those things from me because he wanted me bad enough. And he lied so that he did not lose me. Y'all, honestly, on our first date, he did the whole, let's see which one of the cars I want to drive down to come see you, because we live like an hour away from each other. Let me see which car I want to, drive to come and see you. Come to find out he only had one car. He was sharing it with his mother. And I think it was like they were sharing it because like somebody had to put it in their name, but the other person had the money. Hot mess. But yeah, he went through all of that to try to impress me. I had mentioned about my ex having their license suspended. So this guy went out of his way to hide from me the fact that his license was suspended. I mentioned how the ex had a lot of different kids with some different women and whatever else, and child support and whatever else. This guy wanted me to know I am on child support, but only because my ex was spiteful and vindictive, and she was mad because I don't want to be with her anymore. Even though I'm taking care of my kids, I pay extra to make sure, like all this other good stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Spent the night to his house one time. Actually, I spent the night several times, and he would always leave in the mornings in order. He would leave to go to work, but I was still sleeping, and I would always lock the door on my way out. So I remember one morning I'm standing at the dresser, and after getting myself together before I actually, hopped in my car to head home, I just happened to look down on the dresser. And when I looked down, I saw a card showing that a sheriff was at his house looking for him. And it said something about, like the constable or whatever in the family court division and whatever. Dude, why is a sheriff coming to your house, and why for it to have anything to do with family court? I already know what that is. You got something going on with your child support. And when I asked him about it later, why was you going through my stuff? I wasn't going through your stuff, dude. It was right there on your dress, and I was fixing my hair. So then he finally admitted that, yeah, he was behind on his child support, and that's probably why they were coming to the house. You think? Probably. You had a warrant out for child support. You had a suspended license. You knew that I talked about Christianity. So now times that I'm contacting you, you're not answering all of a sudden, but then texting me, oh, I can't talk right now, I'm in Bible study. Later asking him, hey, so what did you learn in Bible study? Oh, yeah, we was in the book of Genesis and talking about Abraham. What about Abraham? Oh, well, Abraham and the promise. Well, everybody knows that that's in Genesis and Abraham. Or did you just like flip through a page to try to read something right quick? Come on. In this case, I don't have enough time to go into everything. This dude literally became everything that I said that I wanted, and he hid everything that I said were red flags for me. The truth always comes out. The last example I will give, and I've talked about seafood sex before. For those who've read Debunking the Fairy Tale of Boaz, it's not too late to buy it right now. It is still through December 31st. BOGO, buy one book, get one free. So www.thejlministry.com, click on shop or saved and single, add 2 of them to your cart and enter DFB BOGO, if I'm not mistaken, and you'll automatically get one for free. So, but in the book, I talk about seafood sex. I talk about the guy. We did a lot of arguing. I talk about how there was a serious soul tie going on. I talk about a lot of things as it pertains to him. And with him, again, one thing I also made clear was I had prayed and asked God, like, hey, it'd be nice to meet somebody to cuddle with, to talk to discuss the Bible with, all of these different things. And with 24 hours, I got a message from him because I was on an online dating site. And he started off asking me, what is your favorite Bible scripture? Because he saw on my profile that I was saying I desire a Christian man. He went out of his way to portray himself to be a Christian man. Now, mind you, within a few weeks, we had already ended up having sex and we became intimate. Well, I say intimate. Sex and intimate do not equal the same things, but we had already started having sex. Now, it's crazy because I do recall there was a time where we were on the phone and it was something he had said about sex or whatever. And he was like, boy, y'all Christian women, y'all know y'all some of the biggest freaks there is. And, y'all will say that y'all this and that, and y'all godly man, but all somebody got to do is get y'all in bed. I remember how pissed off and angry I was when he said that. And I can't really be mad at him because he was just being honest. I think I was angry with myself. But of course, now looking back, I don't feel anything because the enemy will use shame and guilt, of course, to try to get you to a certain place. But that was at that time where I was already being convicted on sexual sin. I had not yet made, the decision to actually become abstinent yet. So in that case, I hadn't done it yet, and I was trying to do it with him, but I gave in and I did it anyway. The enemy already knew my type: tall, dark, handsome, and let him just say that he loves God, and that's enough. And I fell for it. I got exactly what I asked for. I got exactly what I prayed for. The enemy presented exactly what previously tripped me up in all the years prior to him. I couldn't have been angry with him for what he said. I was angry because I knew what he said was true. That we go around saying that we're Christian women, we're waiting on God, we're hidden, we're gleaning the fields. But all along, we're still not healed. We're not whole. We don't yet love ourselves. And that's why we're allowing ourselves to be consumed and betrayed by these counterfeits. Because we say one thing, we pray for one thing, but then it's like, well, God's not moving fast enough, so let me go take matters into my own hand. I know I prayed about it and I was supposed to leave it alone and trust that God was going to bring me, and let me just work on myself in the meantime. Oh, but God's taken too long. Let me go help him. Be careful what you pray for. Because this man, even though we had sex in the whole nine, and we started off with the Bible trivia, he wasn't godly. He went to church. He didn't know the Bible. I remember times that I should have taken that as a sign. Every time I was always doing my Bible study and reading the Bible, he would always call. It was always some type of distraction. Now, of course, at the time, for me, it's like, oh, look at that. He would call right when I'm reading the Bible. That's a sign. Yeah, that should have already told you he was going to distract you from the relationship that you already had with Christ. It was going to distract you in your spiritual journey. So times that he would call and I'd be like, oh, I'm sitting there reading this passage and I'm trying to figure out, like what God is talking about as far as X, Y, Z or blah, 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 whatever else the case might be. He could never answer any of the questions that I had about the Bible. He didn't read the Bible. He didn't really know many scriptures, know nothing. So add to that, him being godly. So I first thought, and going to church and knowing some of the scriptures, his vocabulary was laced with profanity. He was always wanting to have sex, and we did a lot. And it was good. God forgive me. But I'm glad that I had to let that go, because I knew he was nothing but a setup from the enemy. Seriously. But profanity, sex, his anger, he brought a side out of myself that I did not like, and he had a temper like nobody's business. So I say all of this to say, be careful what you ask for. The things that you want and the things that you're praying for, what if you get it right now? Because repeatedly, I got what I wanted, and it turned out to be not what I wanted. But here's the thing. I lacked one important thing, and it's something that many of you lack now as well. And I know it for a fact. Discernment. Many lack discernment. Levels of discernment are different. And I do know that discernment in and of itself, it is a gift for the most part. But you can always ask for wisdom. That is what I do know. But if you do not have discernment, which if you spend enough time with God, you will get that discernment. You will be able to hear from him clearly. When you are in relationship with God, he whispers very gently to those, and you will know his voice because you've spent enough time with him. And you will hear him when he is telling you no. Or you will even have the wisdom and the knowledge you possess, that you will possess it, and you will see somebody and you will already know, no. You'll be able to tell that person disrupts my spirit. You will know that ain't it. So even if you don't have any type of discernment, first of all, that means you need to spend more time with God in this season. But you also can ask for wisdom, because James 1:5 tells us, if any of you lacks wisdom, ask. And our God, who is generous, he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you or chastise you for asking. He will give it to you. I pray often for wisdom, knowledge, and for him to increase my discernment, to increase my anointing. I'm praying now for things that I didn't pray about previously. I was always praying about men and money, money and men, men and money, money and men. Now I am praying for spiritual gifts and things that money can't buy. And I'm praying for wisdom and knowledge, because I know that God has given me a task. And he has put me in charge of this single woman's ministry and single coaching, single woman's coaching and dating coaching and relationship coaching and life coaching. I can't be out here teaching, but not living a certain way. And not only that, but again, I want the knowledge so that I can better lead people that he's equipped me. Yeah, he's called me, but it doesn't mean just sit back and do nothing. I am always looking on ways to perfect my gifts so that I can do my job that much more better. Ask for wisdom. Proverbs 11:2 says, when pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom. A lot of us have pride. A lot of us are making decisions based on pride and based on what others might think or what they might say. And with that comes disgrace. When I got pregnant with my ex, I was too prideful and I was filled with too much shame to just walk away and let it go. Even when I was in that relationship, and now here it is a year later, I'm pregnant again. I was like, oh no, he already had 3 baby mamas before me. Pride. I'm not going to be baby mama number 4. Pride. I can't be another statistic. Pride. What are people going to say about me? Pride. Because then they're going to laugh at me. Shame. You're going to be a disgrace. Shame. All these other different things. But with humility comes wisdom. And now that I can humble myself and I can admit my faults and flaws, and I know that some people are just like, who is she to tell anybody anything? But some of the things that she's told us that she's done, she just stopped having sex less than 2 years ago. Like, she's not even seasoned or, or whatever else. And I know some people probably watch these videos just to see what they can scrutinize and pick apart. So be it. So be it. With humility comes wisdom. Everybody doesn't always agree with the things that I state. That's fine. I go based on biblical principles in a world filled with sex, lust, and disobedience. I go based on the fact that God has called me, He has qualified me, and He has equipped me, and He has told me to go forth. I go forth knowing that I have helped people, I have healed people, I have delivered people, not I, but what God has done through me for and to others. My resume speaks for me. My boss speaks for me. Make no mistakes, I got the certifications just to actually gain a deeper knowledge and to have more insight and understanding. But a lot of my wisdom, knowledge, and discernment, all of those things come from Him. I know that people say there's more ways to do things and, well, times have changed and this is 2018 or whatever else. Times have changed, but His word remains the same. We don't get to change things in the Bible and how He wants certain things to be done because it's a different time period. Even those decisions that we have to make on our own, the Holy Spirit will lead each of us a different way. I do get that part. Only thing I can do is plant the seeds, and everybody will do with them whatever they choose and however they are led to do it. But here's what I do know. Psalm 37:30 says, the godly offer good counsel. They teach right from wrong. Certain things, there's the right way and there's a wrong way. Some people can debate that or no, I disagree or no, that I teach right from wrong and I offer godly counsel. That is my job. That is my place. I'm out to please God, not people. I have to hold myself accountable to Him. So as you go forth with these things that you're desiring and praying for and wanting and all that other good stuff, like I've been saying for a while now, keep God at the center. Just keep Him at the center. Don't put Him in a box. When it comes to dating, when it comes to meeting someone, when it comes to whatever, everything you do, if you keep God at the center, you can't go wrong. Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of God, live righteously, and you will receive everything. You will get everything that you need. Just seek Him first. Put Him first. Keep Him at the center. But don't put Him in a box, because when you say God's going to do it this way, it has to be done this way. I want it to be done this way. My dream, goal, and desire is for it to be done this way, and I will only accept it. Well, God knows this is how I feel about it. That is putting God in a box. That is you controlling Him. That is you telling Him how it's going to happen, the way it's going to be done, and whatever else. No, God at the center, not in a box, and I will let that be that. Be careful what you pray for. Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you desire. Be careful with your patterns. Be careful with your habits, because Satan is watching. Satan is watching everything you do, and he already knows your weaknesses. Or you can take these things to God and let Him lead you. I was about to close out in prayer. I had to remember this wasn't one of my sermons. This was a message. So that's all I have for the Sassy Saturday special. Yeah, my prayer is that all you would learn and grow and make better decisions and just kind of, let that be that. But God bless you all. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in again. It's Victoria Baxter with the Saved and Single Ministry for the Sassy Saturday special. You can learn more about me and this ministry at www.thejalministry.com. Click on Saved and Single. And again, everything is on the website also that I talk about. The Boaz book, the In God Do We Still Trust, the financial coaching, the healed coaching, the HCP masterclass based on my book, everything. You can find it all on there. God bless. See you all later. Have a merry, 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 merry Christmas. I pray that you all have a blessed, wonderful, fantastic, food-filled, fat-filled, huge stomach-filled Christmas. I'm excited because it's actually my birthday. I am born on Christmas Day. Not always a good thing because some people forget about me. My mom was the only one that would separate my birthday and my Christmas gifts. She passed away 3 years ago, so now everyone's like, Mom's dead, screw you, not gonna happen. But I'll still be celebrating nonetheless and having fun and eating way too much because my diet will start January 1st. If you have not yet bought any Christmas gifts, head over to the website. Maybe gift someone with a self-guided coaching kit. Maybe I don't know, a self-guided coaching kit, or maybe the gift of life coaching. Life coaching is on the rise, and I think that's why I also I wanted to be a part of it, but I was kind of doing it anyway. But many people are signing up for life coaches more and more. So I don't know. Maybe you want to give someone a life coach who they need healing or help, guidance. They're stuck in a point right now, maybe divorce or some type of trial, tragedy, stagnant, trying to discover their purpose. There are so many digital products on the website and so many different services I offer. Reach out to me. I love you all. God bless. And I will see you all next weekend. Have a good one. Bye-bye.